items which include ballot papers, operational vehicles, ballot boxes, allowance of ad hoc workers, printing of result sheets, logistics, and procurement of accreditation devices. Also included in the budget is a 27.1 billion naira set aside by the Commission for possible runoff elections, including the one for the presidential poll. Meanwhile, former President Goodluck Jonathan has said he is yet to declare for the 2023 presidency, as the process to that effect is ongoing. He spoke while playing host to a large crowd of supporters, mostly youths and women, on Solidarity March to his office in Abuja. Leaders of the placard-carrying supporters took turns to ask the former president to return to office in 2023 and promised to work for his victory at the polls. The former president, however, appreciated the large crowd for their support and visit. On security, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has disclosed that amid growing insecurity in the country, the creation of state police would be a better option than community policing. Obasanjo made this disclosure when the leadership of the National Association of Ex-Local Government Chairmen in Nigeria paid him a courtesy visit in Abeokuta on Wednesday. A statement by Special Assistant on Media Kehinde Akinyemi hinted the visit was led by the Pioneer National Chairman, Honorable Albert Asipa, the Ogun State Chapter Chairman, Shoyemi Kuka, and Chinwe Monu Olorenwaju, Delta State Chairman, BOT, and the traditional ruler of Odugunbolu, His Royal Highness Obatoye Mojid Alatise of Ososa, a former chairman of Ijebuode local government area of Ogun State, among others. Meanwhile, following the frequent attacks on police formations and personnel in the southeast by armed assailants, Inspector General of Police IG Usman Baba has ordered the immediate deployment of additional operational assets to complement officers and men attached to Operation Restore Peace. In a statement, the IG, who condemned the spate of attacks on police officers, facilities, and other police operational assets around the nation, warned that attacks on police officers in the line of duty will no longer be tolerated under whatever guise, as the force holds the lives of its personnel sacrosanct. Baba, in a statement by the police spokesman Muyiwa Adejobi, reiterated the commitment of the force to protection of lives and property, while stressing that it is vital to respect the lives and fundamental rights of police officers and other security operatives to enable them to advance their sacred mandate of serving and protecting the citizens better. In a related development, Rivers State Governor and the People's Democratic Party presidential aspirant Nyesom Wike and his Taraba state counterpart Darius Ishaku has insisted on state police as one of the possible ways of checking insecurity in the country. According to the DOR, establishing state police will be one enduring approach to addressing the decaying insecurity in Nigeria. Wike was in Taraba to woo delegates of the PDP in the state ahead of the PDP presidential primaries, while dismissing the arguments against the need for state police. Said the federal government cannot stop insecurity without state police. Back here, Akwa Ibom State Immediate Past Commissioner for Economic Development in the state, Akano Kon, has assured Akwa Ibomites of his readiness to provide a visionary and purposeful leadership that would engender rapid economic growth, inclusive development, and shared prosperity if elected as governor come 2023. Mr. Akano Kon gave the assurance during his Thanksgiving and official declaration to run for the office of the governor under the People's Democratic Party (PDP) in the next year general elections. Our correspondent completes the report.
On Thursday, Akwa Ibomites gathered at the West Itam Secondary School, Itam, to witness the official declaration of Mr. Akano Kon to run for the office of the governor in 2023. The moment gave the immediate past commissioner for economic development in the state the opportunity to offer praises and thanksgiving to God for the grace to serve under the past and present administrations.
I have served meritoriously in different ministries under the administration of His Excellency Senator Godswill Akpabio and His Excellency Governor Udomi Manda. I understand the workings of government. As part of my desire to continue to offer quality services to our state, I intend to harness the accrued technocratic experience to ensure good governance in the state. I am poised to add value and to offer value-added leadership for shared prosperity. And what I mean there is that in Akwa Ibom State, under my leadership, prosperity will not be for the few. Prosperity will be for all.
The paramount ruler of Itu local government area, His Majesty Edidem Edejapan, while commenting on the occasion, thanked the People's Democratic Party for giving all aspirants a level playing field. He advised Akwa Ibomites to choose the right leaders who would mean well for the people.
I want Akwa Ibomites, all the Akwa Ibomites, to look closely, not on sentiment, but let us now choose somebody who can redeem this very state. When you look at Akwa Ibom, economically, we are viable, we have mineral, but we need somebody that will harness these very resources, both natural resources and human resources. Akwa Ibom has been endowed with, so that the state will develop, not mediocrity. We need people who know the job to handle the development of this state for us. So God will give us the best. God will give me an Akwa Ibom, and those that love this Akwa Ibom, the best among them. That's my comment. Thank you.
The event drew top-ranking personalities in the state, as well as stakeholders of the People's Democratic Party in the state. Hansen Uko, Spectrum Television News.
Still in Akwa Ibom State, as the world marks World Earth Day 2022, an academic professor with the University of Yo, Professor Kenyan, has called for collaborative efforts to save the planet. Speaking on Spectrum Television Rise and Shine show, the professor called for an end to tree cutting, bush burning, and other harmful practices that affects the environment.
There are some things like, let me do as individuals, like we keep saying, don't cut down trees. The only thing keeping us alive and comfortable are trees and ocean, which we call the carbon sinks. They are the ones that are taking away the excess carbon dioxide that we have, cleaning our environment. There are some things like, let me give you an example. In our environment, we have everybody drilling borehole. No regulation, no nothing. Everybody has it because the agency that supplies water has failed. So everybody goes on his own way. We see people burning things. Anywhere they just burn things. It doesn't happen in any civilized society anymore. Waste management is becoming a major problem. From in household to the community to the state, it's a serious problem. Those are things we can easily handle.
In Africa, Kenya has announced it will host a meeting between rebels in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo and the government in Kinshasa. The announcement was made on Thursday after a meeting of leaders from Kenya, Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, and the Democratic Republic of Congo that met in Nairobi to discuss violence by armed groups in the DR Congo. Reports say Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta during Thursday's meeting with the leaders sought to establish a regional force to neutralize armed groups in the region, adding that recent fighting in eastern DR Congo has pitted government forces against rebels from the M23 movement, a group that emerged from the Congolese Tutsi rebellion. Away from that, Kenya's former president Mwai Kibaki has died at the age of 90. Announcing his death, President Uhuru Kenyatta eulogized the former President Kibaki of Kenyan politics, saying he was a patriot for the values for which he lived, his ideals, his dignity, his diligence, candor, and concern for the well-being of all Kenyans. President Kenyatta said that as a leading figure in post-independence Kenyan history, Kibaki earned the respect and affection of Kenyan people and other nations around the world. Ordering all flags in the country and diplomatic missions of fire have marched, Kenyan President Kenyatta has said that the former president, who was president from 2002 to 2012, will be accorded a state funeral and the country will be in national mourning until sunset on the day former President Mwai Kibaki will be buried. Still in Africa, an Egyptian court has sentenced a former member of parliament and orders to 10 years in prison for smuggling antiquities out of the country. The former member of parliament, Allah Hassanin, and 4 others will serve 10 years, while Hassan Ritab, a prominent businessman, and 17 others will face 5 years in prison. Reports say those sentenced have been fined 1 million Egyptian pounds each as part of Egypt's drastic step-up efforts in recent years to stop the trafficking of its antiquities. Meanwhile, the country has in recent years warned foreign museums that it will not help them mount exhibits on ancient Egyptian antiquities unless they return smuggled artifacts. Still to come in the news, Man United captain Maguire gets bomb threat. To stay with us. Much thanks for staying tuned. On the phone saying Ukrainian's President Volodymyr Zelensky has told the world's finance minister that his country needs $7 billion in aid every month until the summer to keep functioning. Volodymyr Zelensky also said hundreds of billions of dollars will be needed to rebuild all that has been destroyed by the war. He was addressing an International Monetary Fund (IMF) and World Bank conference via video link from Kyiv. Zelensky also said the global community needed to exclude Russia from international financial institutions, including the World Bank, IMF, and others.
Ми потребуємо до 7 мільярдів доларів США фінансової підтримки щомісячно. І для відновлення після цієї війни Україна буде потребувати ще сотень мільярдів доларів. Потрібно негайно виключити Росію з усіх міжнародних фінансових інституцій. Міжнародний валютний фонд, Світовий банк та інші точно не місце для такої держави, яка намагається зруйнувати життя сусіднього народу.
Meanwhile, World Bank President interaction with other financial stakeholders after being addressed by Ukraine President on the implication of the ongoing war in Ukraine. Elsewhere, Prime Minister Boris Johnson has revealed that Ukrainian troops are in the UK being trained on how to use their armored vehicles Britain is supplying to repel Russian forces. Reports say Britain is providing Ukraine with 120 armored patrol vehicles, including the Mastiff, which can be used as a reconnaissance or patrol vehicles. Johnson's press secretary said a couple of dozen Ukrainian soldiers were currently in the UK for training, adding that Britain and its allies were providing Ukrainian soldiers with new types of equipment that they may not have used before. Still on the foreign scene, U.S. President Joe Biden has announced a new package of $800 million in military aid for Ukraine, saying it will help Kyiv in the fight against Russian forces in the Donbas region. Pentagon said the newest round of U.S. support will include 72 155 howitzers, 72 armored vehicles, 144,000 rounds of ammunition, and more than 120 Phoenix Ghost tactical drones recently developed by the U.S. Air Force, specifically to address Ukraine's needs. Biden said the new package was tailored to help Ukraine's forces meet their emerging Russian offensive in the country's east, which he said will be a different kind of fight than that in the north around Kyiv, where Ukrainian forces successfully beat Russian forces back in the first 6 weeks of the war.
Another $800 million to further augment Ukraine's ability to fight in the east, in the Donbas region. This package includes heavy artillery weapons, dozens of howitzers, and 144,000 rounds of ammunition to go with those howitzers. It also includes more tactical drones. In the past 2 months, we've moved weapons and equipment to Ukraine at record speed. We've sent thousands of anti-armor and anti-missile helicopters, drones, grenade launchers, machine guns, rifles, radar systems. More than 50 million rounds of ammunition had already been sent. The United States alone has provided 10 anti-armor systems for every 1 Russian tank that's in Ukraine, a 10-to-1 ratio. We're sharing and will continue to share significant timely intelligence with Ukraine to help defend them against Russian aggression. And on top of this, these direct contributions from the United States, we're the outfit facilitating the significant flow of weapons and systems to Ukraine from other allies and partners around the world, like the S-300 long-range anti-aircraft systems that Slovakia recently transferred to Ukraine. We are getting them in there. We won't always be able to advertise everything that our partners are doing to support Ukraine in its fight for freedom, but to modernize Teddy Roosevelt's famous advice, sometimes we will speak softly and carry a large javelin, because we're sending a lot of those in as well.
On the business news, Brent, the global benchmark for crude oil, rose marginally in price on Thursday as the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries projected that the demand growth for oil will continue this year. In a statement to the International Monetary and Financial Committee meeting of ministers and governors for April 2022 released on Thursday, OPEC stated that oil prices had been on the rise, particularly in March this year. It said the ICE Brent benchmark had averaged near $98 per barrel in the first quarter 2022, about $18 higher than its value in the fourth quarter of 2021. Stressing that this was due to the escalating geopolitical tensions in Eastern Europe and the concerns that it might result in large oil supply shortages amid trade dislocations. Still on our business news, the International Monetary Fund says the impact of the war in Ukraine is likely to sustain pressure on commodity prices, affecting oil and gas prices severely in 2022 and food prices well into 2023 in Nigeria and other countries of the world. The Washington-based Lending disclosed this in its World Economic Outlook, which borders on how the war has contributed to setback on the global recovery. According to it, inflation is expected to remain high and far longer than it had previously forecasted. The IMF added that energy and food prices contributed significantly to the headline inflation in 2021 in varying degrees across the regions. According to it, the sharp hike in oil and gas prices led to an increase in energy cost. In health, the Kogi State government has confirmed 41 new cases of Lassa fever, with 7 deaths from January till date. A statement issued by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Longe Daniel, was made available to journalists in Lokoja, the 9 local government areas, namely Ida, Ibaji, Lokoja, Ajaokuta, Ofu, Ogene, Ikehi, Kaba, and Adavi have reportedly at least one confirmed case during the period. Olong noted that the ministry had responded appropriately and timely to the epidemic through the release of funds by Governor Yahaya Bello to curb the outbreak, adding that the ministry is collaborating with other lined ministries, especially the Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Agriculture, and other partners to curtail the outbreak and prevent the further spread of the disease. In sports, Harry Maguire's house was checked by police yesterday after the Manchester United captain received a bomb threat. England defender Maguire, who lives with his fiancée and 2 children, has endured a difficult season with club and country, but it is not known who made the threat. Reports said in the last 24 hours, Harry has received a serious threat to his family, home, and he was reported this to the police, who are now looking into the matter. On our entertainment news, the Christian Association of Nigeria (CAN) has pledged to ensure justice for the late gospel music star Osinachi Nwachukwu, who died recently following alleged maltreatment and assault by her husband. Peter Nwachukwu, CAN President Reverend Samson Ayokole, gave the pledge in a statement in Abuja, condemning the gruesome murder of the late gospel music minister. Ayokole, who described Osinachi's untimely demise as sad and worrisome, commiserated with her family and promised to ensure justice was not perverted in the matter. Still on our entertainment news, Egypt has marked the 2022 World Heritage Day with a new textile hall at a museum in Cairo. Spokesman for the Ministry of Antiquities, Abu Al-Fald, who spoke on the agreement of the exhibition and what they represent, said the ground floor shows Egyptian heritage textiles from ancient Egypt, the Greco-Roman period, the Coptic and Islamic periods, as well as the modern and contemporary times, while the upper floor holds belongings from the Muhammad Ali dynasty, clothes, jewelry, and outfits worn by people in certain jobs in that era. Reports say the exhibition has around 650 items, giving visitors of the museum the chance to see clothing worn through various eras in Egyptian history.